Humans, what have you learned? Programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. to beat you. have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. Same mistakes. I was programmed to beat you.
Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hello, 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 and welcome back to FRLT. Yes, we return here tonight for another race. This time we go to the track of none other than the Red Bull Ring. Yes, a return to the Red Bull Ring this season. 4.318 kilometers, 2.683 miles, 10 turns, track with the least amount of turns, and also the shortest track for lap time, and also I believe it is the shortest track for distance as well overall, possibly the second shortest, I do believe. I think it is the second shortest, only Monaco being shorter than this circuit. But in that time, this is ultimately the shortest circuit altogether. It's going to be very interesting to see how tonight's going to go. Of course, it's always interesting to see. Let's have a look at the calendar. We now are coming down to the final 3 races of the season. We're going to be heading to Austria, of course, here tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting race. I think we usually have pretty interesting races all round this track. Of course, we've then got China. We have a break week. We won't have a break week. My apologies. We won't be having. We'll either be having a break week. I can't remember if we are having a break week. That might have been fours. I might be getting mixed up here with whatever. There aren't any break weeks. there aren't any break weeks for the rest of the season. It is going to be Austria, China, and then Spain to end off the season. That is going to be the end of the season, and there won't be another break week between Austria and China. By the way, just to make that clear, I just had to double check that. But there won't be a break week. So we will be going to China next week and then Spain on the 11th of the 9th for the final race of the season. The constructors, POR, continue to lead. They extended their lead very slightly last race to ultimately the position of course, 12 points now. XPG staying in second. Many of the constructors staying the same. ETE really rising up through the order. They've gone up to 4th in the constructors. IFE really dropping through the grid from 4th now down to 7th. ABE Academy staying in 8th, just jumping past SET. We're going to be getting ready very shortly. Ultimately, I believe one of the drivers is getting booted as well. He's repeatedly getting booted from the lobby at the moment. So we might be racing with just 14 drivers. We're meant to have 16. We're missing an SCT driver. Here tonight. So we're missing one SCT driver who currently, is he online? No, he isn't. There's currently nobody online. So we might be missing 1 to 2 drivers. Another driver keeps on getting kicked from the lobby. But as you can see, the standings, SET pushing up the order a bit. They're up to 5th in the constructors now after a very strong race. Of course, ET getting their first win since round 1. Still, it's going to be an interesting night to see how things go. We're going to be readying up in the next minute or so. Again, one driver's having some struggles with staying in the lobby. So he might be having some problems here tonight, throughout the night, possibly. So it could be some real disappointment there for one driver at least, which would be, of course, very disappointing to see one driver already almost having to give up already before we've even gotten going. Of course, that's incredibly frustrating. I've got to find the driver now. But yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see how tonight's going to go. Long night underway. Going to be readying up in the next few moments. I do apologize. I'm just trying to find this guy again. So I can't find him now. But yeah, so we're getting ready right now. Can't seem to find him for the life of me. We're now heading into qualifying. I will be inviting a driver straight away, but we'll be getting in with that very soon. Still, it's going to be an interesting race and qualifying. 18 minutes of qualifying followed by a 36-lap race, which is actually the longest a race can be on the calendar. Only Monaco is longer, which is, I believe, 38 laps on F1. So, we are now into qualifying. We're now getting into it. Let's switch to our lovely little screen over here. Here it is. We're now into qualifying. Here it is. Nobody heading out on track just yet. As you can see, track map, shorter circuit. We've got 14 drivers in. We should be having 15 join immediately. Let's just see if I can send in, if I've got any invites or requests. Got him now. So get him re-added. I do apologize for this. Just need to find him on this list. Why can't I find him? This is really confusing. Why isn't it allowing me to find him? Really confused. I'm not being able to find him on this list, which is really frustrating me at the moment. Frustrating day. It's being the game not really working how it should be working. So I do apologize. Let me try and find him very quickly, because I'm still unable to find him, and I'm not sure why, because this game is really hating me today. There, found him. Now found him. Okay, here we go. Getting ready. Tallow ready to go round on his lap to start off qualifying here tonight, opening the rear wing as he now heads to the pit straight. We've had some problems, but now we are getting going. Now into turn 1, Tallow goes, throwing the car in. Of course, he's in ETE tonight, along with Geordie. Now heading down the second straight. Of course, there's just there is ultimately just 3 corners in for most of the first half of the track. He goes very wide in turn 3 there, going incredibly wide, losing the rear a bit. Now heading down this third straight, hat-trick of straights, hat-trick of DRS, and the last time he'll have DRS in the lap as well. Now heading down into turn 4 he goes, throwing the car through very nicely there from Tallow, much better than his turn 3. Now into the next corner he goes, followed, that was turn 5, now into turn 6. He throws the car through, now through turn 7, turn 8 that was, now into turn 9 and 10. He's going to be heading his way into turn 9, now into turn 10 and the final corner. Very nice there from Tallow, incredibly fast, and across the line he goes. 1 minute 4.130 is the first time set by a driver. The next driver crossing the line is, I believe it's Len, who's just started the lap, actually. He's just started the lap. We've got Nissan. 1 SET is missing here tonight, by the way. 1 SET is missing. So do not mind that. 1 SET will be missing for the whole of tonight. Which, of course, is slightly disappointing. We don't like to see drivers missing, but sadly they are. We've got the McLarens coming up to the line next. L98 just failing to set a lap. He's just invalidated on his run, actually. Flames just crossed the line. We've got a Mercedes. That's Slazer, who actually keeps it within track limits. Very interesting. And that is P2, but he finds himself quite far off for the lap time. Not exactly where he's wanting to be. The next driver to cross the line is going to be Len. Let's see what Len can do. Timon's saying if they get 1-2 every race, they could still win the title. We'll have to see about that. Len making his way round through the final corner he goes. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do up to the line. He crossed the line. He goes fastest. The 1 minute 4.049 is the time set there by the Red Bull driver, by the LR driver specifically. So very strong there. We got SET Nissan. He goes P3 into a 0.2. I think we just saw VMV driver starting a lap. Flame is on a lap. He's just set a purple middle sector. So let's see what Flame can do as he heads down into the final 2 corners of turn 9 and 10. Oh, he invalidates on the final corner. Some struggles there for him. Here comes 98, 76 coming up to the line for AUE Academy. Across the line, he goes slowest of all. So not a good lap there necessarily. AMG invalidating once again in this session. Very disappointing. See, Bomboy making his way round for the team of Let me find out which team it is. I don't even know which team it is. Ultimately for the team of POR, the championship leaders. POR, I've forgotten the teams. I haven't commentated Tier 2 in so long. I can't lie, so long. Swedish Latifi up to the line. He goes for IFE. He goes up to the line for IFE. He goes to P3. Again, a 0.2, just 3 thousandths faster than Nissan. Slight improvement there. Not too bad from him. Patrick just starting his lap. I think we've got 98.76, who's actually fueled up for multiple runs. So he's feeling the car is under him and ready to go. Across the line he goes P5. Still struggling a bit in the car at the moment. Flame coming round. He's invalidated. He's coming into the pits. Bomboy is now heading into the final 2 corners. Here he comes. He's making his way round with some speed. POR hoping to continue their championship lead. And across the line he goes. Only P6. Finding himself quite far off the pace. Exactly 7.5 tenths off of the pace at the moment. 3/4 of a second. Some disappointment there, of course. We've got Swedish Latifi. He's making his way round slowly. I think the next driver is the Big Shoots. VMV Big Shoots making his way round now. Let's see what he can do. VMV need a good performance tonight. They had a bit of a struggle last race. Not the huge amount of points they were hoping for. Held on to third in the constructors. But the battle is really on at the top of the constructors at the moment. Really, the battle is on now. He's come in. He's not happy with his lap. Luke also invalidating his lap. He's not happy either. Patrick's just gone slowest of all, sadly. Some disappointment there. Geordie just starting a lap. Bomboy going round slowly. 98.76 also going round slowly. J7BP still in the pits. Let's see what Geordie's going to do. He hasn't set a lap. He invalidated his last run. He's got that turn 3 nailed down very nicely from the ETE driver. Exactly what are we looking for here tonight. Exactly what he'll be wanting here tonight. Now making his way down into turn 4. The team of ETE, of course, they've taken victory last race round. They've only had 2 wins throughout their campaign. Maybe a late title charge is on going into the final 3 races of the season. Maybe ETE trying to take the title. Maybe even try to break the top 3. They need a good performance. At the moment, Tallow, P2, within a 10th of pole, so he's incredibly close. Now heading down into the final 2 corners. Let's see what Geordie can do. He's set 2 purples. Oh, he's had a bit of a wobble through turn 9. Now into turn 10. And across the line he goes. He goes fastest! Even with the wobble, Geordie goes fastest. 1 minute 3.984. He breaks into the 1 minute 3s. First driver to do that here tonight. And that is now 1-3 for ETE. And they're looking like a back-to-back strong performance here once again. We've got Patrick, who's just started the lap. There's Luke that's coming around with some pace. He's really setting some times. Let's see what he's going to do as he reaches the final 2 corners. Throwing the car through again. Now into the final corner. Can IFE have a better race? They didn't score points last race round. That really dropped them down. And he goes P7 in the order. Still P7 in the main order at the moment. Not too bad. Let's see who's next. It's going to be AMG. He's crossing the line next. He invalidates on the last corner. So some more disappointment there for him. I think next is Slazer. I think we got Patrick, who's coming up to the line next. Yes, he's improving by only 0.2 of a second through the middle sector. So maybe he made a big mistake through the final sector. We're going to have to see as he now crosses the line. He only goes up to P9 and only just ahead of 1 driver. So some more disappointment there for him. Maybe the week not turning out to be too great. J7BP, we've usually seen him in Tier 1 in part of TIR. This time round, we're not going to be seeing that. We now look to actually Nissan, who's crossing the line next. He's improving by 92 thousandths in his middle sector. Let's see what he can do when he crosses the line. He improves by a 10th and goes P4. Solid lap time set by him. We've got Swedish Latifi, who's currently not on a lap. J7BP, he is on a lap. Then we've got Bomboy, who's coming round. He's on a slow lap, same as Tallow, who's also on an out lap as well. Who's actually crossing the line next? It's going to be AMG. He's into the pits, same as I believe that was Slazer, who's also into the pits. Yes, it is. Slazer also into the pits in this session. Then we've got Big Shoots, who's coming round. We've actually got Patrick who's coming in. He's just coming in now. So he's decided he's done. Let's see what J7BP can do on his first lap here in qualifying. He's left it quite late. Only P8 and just ahead of his teammate by just a tiny bit. Well, actually quite a bit, but still, even then, not exactly what we'll be looking for. 98.76 goes P2 onto the front row, just squeezes out Len. Very nice lap time set there by him. Swedish Latifi up to the line next. He improves by just over a tenth, but it's still only P6 holding onto the position quite nicely. Flames just starting a lap. Who next is crossing the line? I believe that is Bomboy, who goes P7. He improves. Very nice there. Tallow coming across the line. He improves by just 35 thousandths. Not to improve position, but he stays P4. Not too bad. Yeah, POR definitely underperforming this race. A race where they were hoping to maybe tie up the championship. They got a 12-point lead at the moment. They really wanted to gain some points, but at the moment, they're not looking too strong. Every other team looking much stronger at the moment, as we just saw Big Shoots go up into P10 and up into the top 10 for VMV. So VMV also having a bit of a struggle this race as well. They're not having as strong as of a go. Next driver to cross the line on a full flying lap. That is actually going to be XPG Flame. He's making his way around with some speed. Yet to set a lap time. Only 2 drivers yet to set a lap time in the session. Him and AMG for ABE Academy. And across the line, Flame goes fastest! Flame! With an absolute lap time out of nowhere. He finds the lap time. He goes into provisional pole, puts himself 3/10 ahead of everyone else at the moment. That was a lap time from an absolute, I don't even know what to call that. Shoots is now P11. He's outside of the top 10. We've got a Haas that's on an out lap. Who's next to actually be crossing line? That's actually going to be Geordie, who's coming around. Geordie, a little bit of a wobble from the driver. He's up 400ths of a second, so he could be going to a low 1 minute 3.9. He's not improving massively, especially with the task now set with Flame with a 1 minute 3.6. We might not be seeing a driver get close within that at the moment. The closest is currently over 0.3 of a second behind. But let's see what Geordie can do when he crosses the line. He does improve! 19 thousandths behind Flame. So close, yet so far at the end of the day. So close, yet so far. Some disappointment coming in there for the for ultimately the ET driver. So close, but still just 19 thousandths behind the man of Flame. But still with 1 run left possibly in the session. Luke is on another lap. He's hoping to find some time. Let's see what he's finding in the middle sector. The Haas needs to find some time. The IFE driver does. He's up 1/10 of a second. Just over 1/10, but that's not actually going to improve his position. He's actually going to stay P9 at the moment, unless he can find at least another 0.5, which could send him to P8, just behind his team. A little bit of a wobble through the penultimate corner now into the final corner. Very nice, using all of the curbing, using everything he's got, and up to the line. He goes up by 0.3 to P5. IFE really pushing for a good performance here tonight, and they've done that right now, and that's P5 and P8 now for both drivers. But look at how close the battle for P3 currently is. Literally 4 drivers all within the 1 minute 4.0s at the moment. It is so close. Only 1 driver out on track, and that is actually the driver of Luke. He's the only driver out on track at the moment. Everybody else saying, I want to leave it till later on in the session, see how it goes. To be fair, I don't blame them, because there is only 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in qualifying. So not much longer left, and then we'll be getting on to the race. Everybody's got to be careful. They've got to see about their grid positions, as now we can see Luke is making his way slowly into the pits. He might be able to get one more run, because he did join late, as he runs over the white line very slightly. But coming into the pits, he goes. Last driver to come into the pits, he might have to push quite hard to get out. And now I think we've seen just 2 drivers. I think that was Mercedes and Aston Martin who have just come out of the pits. Is that Flame? No, it isn't. It's actually his teammate, Patrick, who's actually come out of the pits first for the final runs, and the Mercedes of, I think that's Slazer. Yes, Slazer also out, P12 and P13, both out on laps now. You can see side by side, maybe neither of them wanting to give up position. We might be getting some racing here in qualifying. Yes, we are. We are actually getting some racing here in qualifying for who leads this away. We're going to have to see how this is going to go, because there's a lot up for chance right now. There was a lot up for chance, but now you can see Patrick's let Slazer go. Slazer's going to be leading this group now. A lot of drivers coming out on track. We can see Tallo's actually come out on track first before his teammate, so maybe his teammate has used all of his soft tires. We'll have to see. No, he hasn't. He's now coming out of the pits. They're all coming out in groups now. See, Patrick really slowing down. He's already now third in the queue. He's dropping really far back. But it's going to be Slazer who's going to be the driver that we're going to be riding on board with for the final lap. We're going to be riding on board with this man for one final time. He invalidates into the penultimate corner, but he will be fine to start a lap and go for it. Here he goes, starting his lap. He's going to have a lot of traffic, because already I think that's Flame, who's the last driver to actually come out, the man on provisional pole. Slazer taking turn 1 very nicely, opening the DRS once again, heading down towards turn 3. He now goes up the hill. He goes into turn 3. 0.3 of a second up at the moment from Slazer, so he's finding a lot of time. He could be looking at P11 ahead of his teammate now. Now, heading down as he heads towards turn 4, he goes. Turn 4, he hits, and it's very nice there for turn 4, he does. Now up through turn 5, now hitting towards turn 6 and 7. He's going to go through turn 6. He's got to try and throw the car in. Doesn't exactly work now through into turn 7. Still 0.3 of a second up. Not finding much improvement in the middle sector. He's going to have quite a bit of traffic on his way into the final sector. He's going to have a McLaren in the way that has to move out the way. Now into turn 9 and 10 he goes. Into the final 2 corners, he's going to be getting some dirty air from Flame in front. He does go wide. He does run wide, and he does invalidate. And that is ultimately Slazer's qualifying all over and finished for now. We now look to Tallow, who also runs over. He's also invalidated. He's also done for qualifying. He's all finished. That's all over for him. So some disappointment there. We've now got Bomboy, who's coming up to the line. He's going to go on to the second row as he goes P3. We've got 98.76 crossing line. He now goes P3. Very strong there from him. We're looking to SCT Nissan next. He's going to cross the line. He's invalidated, so some disappointment there. Patrick crosses the line. He does improve, but not enough to gain position. We now look to Swedish Latifi, who goes P5. We now look to the man of Len, who crosses the line. He goes P4, so he just jumps ahead. Luke, who doesn't improve on his lap. We now look to the next driver across the line. J7BP goes P7. I think we've now going to have to look to Geordie. He's improving. He goes to provisional pole. Flame crosses the line. He can't improve. Flame doesn't improve at the end of qualifying. AMG crosses the line to go P4. Strong performance. P3 and P4 for ABE Academy at the moment. And it's not been strong for ETE. They might see Geordie on pole, but his teammate is down in P10 just based off of those final laps. But look at P7, P8, just 2,000s dividing them. But ultimately, that is qualifying all over here tonight. And it is ETE and Geordie on pole position here in Austria after Flame just couldn't find the time on his final run. And that is some disappointment for XPG hoping for a pole position. But here is the grid order for the race. ETE Geordie finds himself on pole position with another ETE pole this season. XPG Flame will start on the front row alongside. 98.76 along with his teammate AMG starts 3rd and 4th. Len in 5th. Bomboy in 6th, Swedish Latifi 7th, J7BP 8th, Luke in 9th, and Tallow in 10th. SCT Nissan in 11th, the Big Shoots in 12th, Patrick in 13th, Slazer in 14th, and Tabaxi in ultimately 15th and last as he had a qualifying ban. Woo! What a qualifying. Absolutely interesting. What a qualifying in the end. To see. It's cloudy. As you can see, it is cloudy for the race. we're going to be waiting 3 minutes to get going for the race. We will be waiting 3 minutes to get going. But looking at the calendar, of course, Austria, then China, then Spain. Looking at the constructors, though, POR ahead of XPG, who are second. 12 points. It's all going to come down to this, POR and XPG. XPG getting the sort of hand over at the moment, the sort of bit over POR at the moment. They're POR not on for the strongest of finishes at the moment, but ECE proving that they could definitely be in contention to take that third in the constructors at the moment. They really want to do that. LR as well sitting in there, IFE as well. SCT sitting a bit further back this week. Not exactly what they would have been wanting. AB Academy, though, on for big points. They could be trying to overtake IFE and LR and SCT all at the same time. Claim up to 5th in the constructors. And we are going. It is 3, 4, fire lights. And away we go here in Austria for FRLT Tier 2. And there's a good getaway from ETE Geordie. Heading down into turn 1 he goes. Is he going to have an attack from Flame? No, he doesn't. He actually leads very well away from turn 1. And it is incredibly good start. You can see some overtaking happening further back. IFE versus POR going on further back in the grid. But you can see heading down into turn 3 they go. And ultimately the top 4 stay, even the top 5 stay exactly the same off of that start, and it is a great getaway for our race leader. He's going to be under attack from Flame. Heading down the inside. Here comes Flame into turn 4. Bit of contact, but still, E.T. Geordie will lead away so far after the first main opportunities to overtake. Luke now making the move on his teammate of Swedish Latifi for P7. Swedish Latifi dropping down the order very quickly at the moment. He's struggling on this first lap to get away. Bomboy also getting a decent start, going up to P6 in this race. But still, what a start from Geordie. He's really gotten the start he needed to get here. And he's already making his way up through the order. You can see, ultimately, Tabaxi also making his way up through the order. Already up to 13th, past the Big Shoots and Slazer, past the VMV duo. But looking at the front, I have to say, the ABE Academy drivers really putting in a performance at the moment, on for 27 points, but they're getting attacked by Len. Into turn 3 they go. You can see McLaren side by side with ultimately Len, AMG and Len going for a battle here, but it's a better exit from AMG. He gets away better than the Red Bull. Somebody's been left spinning. That is ultimately Patrick, but it is a change for the lead. Flame takes the lead of the race here on lap 2. E.T. Geordie thought he might have had it, but ultimately it is now XPG in the lead, and their battle for the Constructors' Championship is on with the team of POR. It is all coming down to this one. XPG driver is last, the other is first, and it is all coming down to this race at the moment, but we're going to have to see as the race goes on. Let's see how the drivers are going to go. You can see Tallow making his way past Swedish Latifi. Swedish Latifi really struggling to get the racing he needs. And now heading through to start off a new lap. New drivers putting in fastest laps. Now heading down into turn 1. Flame continues to lead here on lap 3. And now here comes Geordie. He's got the DRS open. He's got the overtake. He wants to make that move on Flame. Now into turn 3 he goes. Moving to the right-hand side. Moving to that inside line. He's going to lead into turn 3. Flame has also an attack from ABE 9876. Patrick now retires, so XPG now down one driver already just on lap 3, as now once again the man of XPG Flame leads. And also we saw Len also make his way past AMG for P4 as well, so LR making up some points, making up some positions, exactly what they needed. We saw Luke as well making his way up a slight bit. Swedish Latifi really dropping through the order. You can see Luke trying to make his way past Bomboy at the moment. Tallow also in P9. He's sort of making his way around rather slowly. Tabatsky obviously made a mistake. He's down to 13th again. So a bit of disappointing. He's gotten overtaken by a VMV driver there. But some gaps are starting to build. The back 3 all sitting on their own. Now Slazer is coming into the pits. But you can see all of the top 11 still all in this battle, 4 points and for the victory. Now heading down towards turn 3. Is Geordie going to do the same thing again? No, he isn't. He's going to sit further behind. He's going to wait till the DRS line approaches the DRS detection line specifically. Lots of moves happening further back. Some drivers going off track. You can see everybody's going everywhere. STT Nissan coming out on top out of all of them. Up 2 places, up to 6th now. Double overtake. Flame loses the lead. Maybe momentarily. No, he doesn't get the drive. Geordie now returns to the lead of the race once again. And ETE get to lead another chance in this race. They get to lead for even longer with the ABE Academy drivers sitting in 3rd and 4th at the moment. They're sitting in right behind, waiting to make that move very, very soon. But now heading down, once again, you can see, looking at Flame, he's struggling a little bit. He's gone a bit wide there, maybe getting a warning, but he's struggling to keep up with the Williams as much as he was earlier. So maybe there's some struggles coming from the Aston Martin car, from the XPG car. Maybe the setup just isn't perfect, but some struggles maybe for also Geordie, who's also struggling to get off of the exit. Slazer gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's very much on his own in this race now. He's had to stop early. Now into turn 3, who's going to get the better exit? Neither really gets the better exit. Very equal exit from Geordie, even for his weakened entry into the corner. Now heading down towards turn 4, who's going to make the move? It is going to be Flame, and he now returns to the lead of the race once again as the grid now calms down as the race continues to get further and further in here on lap 5. Still, I have to say, a really strong start from the McLaren duo, the ABE Academy duo of 9876 and AMG. They've both been incredibly strong for ABE off the start, not losing a single place. They haven't lost a position. They haven't gained any places either. But the strong thing is, at the moment, they're going to be walking away with the most points out of any team this race. And they could be jumping 2 or 3 teams in the constructors at the same time. They could be jumping from, I believe, where they are in 8th. They could, in 7th. They could, is it 7th? No, 8th. Sorry, I was correct. 8th, but Flame now dropping down to P2 once again. He's going to have to wait in behind Geordie again, watching that Williams, but almost 3 wide into turn 3. And now, heading down the next straight, has Len actually gotten both ABE drivers? I think he might have. He might also be trying to get Flame at the same time. Around the outside, is the move going to work? No, it isn't. The move won't work. Oh! And a big slide for the man of Len, and all of his progress in just 2 corners has all disappeared once again as the ABE drivers get back out in front into P3 and P4 and are continuing their chance for the most points here tonight. Geordie made that move into turn 3, by the way, but he's actually done pretty well to get away. This time, a bigger lead, the biggest lead we've had in this race so far. Half a second being broken now in the lead. But again, a mistake from Len. LR not walking away from this race too easily. P5 and P13, it's not the best they've had so far, but they'll be hoping for better. They really want to continue their championship chances. But with just this race and 2 more races after this, it's going to be very difficult as... You know, it's a very difficult season. You can see Nissan, by the way, SET Nissan, making his way past Len in this race. That's a strong move for SET, a big move that they needed to make. As Flame, once again, takes the lead of the race. But still, Geordie is sitting in there, trying to get a bit of a fight going on. But he's going to let Flame by this one time. But I have to say, it's been a very, very action-packed first 7 laps here in Austria. Moves happening everywhere and anywhere. The driver that's really found himself on his own at the moment is J7BP. He's really on his own. Not as much as Slazer, but in this race at the moment, P11, 2 seconds off of P10, and 1.5 seconds ahead of P12. POR really not walking away with a good finish, only on their way for 6 points this race, which will currently lose them the lead of the Constructors' Championship, which will be a massive loss to them here tonight, is losing that lead, of course, in the Constructors, and moving down to... second place, because especially with only 2 races left, we'll have to see Geordie once again making the move for the lead. You can see 9876 maybe looking at his chances for P2 in this race. He really is trying to get close to that Aston Martin to try and make the move into P2 and get onto the front row. But ultimately, Geordie once again leads into turn 4. It's the lead for the ETE driver. He's doing it once again. He's leading once again. It's interesting to see with ET, XPG, and ABE. They're all sitting in this little group. They know how they're currently sitting. They know what they've got on their side. And I think that's something that's going to sit with them at the moment, is that they know that they've got this strength on their side at the moment, is that, they're not struggling. They're not going to struggle from currently everyone else, But the problem is still for Flame and for ETE and all of the other teams is that ABE could be walking their way to a potential championship charge. Even if ETE win here tonight and score 25 points, AB is still going to walk away with 2 more points at the end of the day, and they're still going to start to catch up. You can see some moves maybe happening further back. We can see Len, he's really starting to fall through the order. Tallow, by the way, getting the exit over Bomboy. He's now trying to attack the Red Bull at the same time. Flame once again making the move for the lead, and it's not able to be made just yet, but Bomboy making a mistake drops him down to P8. Even less points for POR now, and definitely a change in the Constructors' Championship lead. Even though POR has led for so long this season now. They've led for most of the season in the Constructors. ETE were the original leaders in the Constructor. It was first SCT who led, then it was ETE. Since then, it's ultimately been the team of none other than POR who have led throughout the rest of the season. Very dominant from them. Tallow making his way up to P7, now P6. This does help him. Oh, there's a yellow flag. There's been a spin. It's J7BP. He's had a spin. He's put it in the wall. And that is making POR's day even worse. Debut of a new driver. And he's down in P11 and essentially last place. P11, P12 at the moment for POR. Even with Bomboy in the pits. Still, Geordie leading this race quite comfortably. Will he get away from this turn 4? Yes, he will. He'll continue to lead, by the way. He continues to lead this race. So he leads this race for now a whole lap. First time in a while that we've seen a driver lead for over a whole lap. If Geordie makes it to turn 3 ultimately, by the way, if he makes it to turn 3 or turn 4 once again, he could lead 2 laps in this race, which is the longest anybody has actually led in this entire race, which will be very interesting to see whether he does or he doesn't. But he's having quite a strong Sector 3. He's actually made the biggest lead in this race. Once again, he's done it again in this race. Swedish Latifi getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Pit stops are going to be coming pretty soon. And talking about pit stops, let's talk about the tyres at the moment. Everybody from 1st to 11th on medium tyres to backseat now coming in, but still 1st to P10 all on medium tyres. I think a lot of drivers will be going to the hard tyres. Luke gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Both IFE drivers now with penalties in this race and sitting P7 and P8 at the bottom of this group, of this 8-driver group at the moment, all within DRS. Still, I'm impressed by how ETE have turned around their last race and this race. They've really turned around their championship. They went pointless, I believe, in the previous race. They've struggled. The last time they scored big points like last race was in round 1. That was the last time that they had scored that many points in a single race, by the way. A lot of other drivers coming into the pits now. They're choosing to come in. Only AMG's not coming out. He got blocked a bit, so that's actually allowed Geordie to pull off into the distance a bit and not other drivers not have DRS on him, I do believe. And now that's your top 3, your top 5, and top 6 now in this race. Already dropping down to 6. Only 2 drivers coming into the pits. Big Shoots gets a 3-second time penalty. Nissan gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Multiple warnings coming through. Multiple penalties, should I say, coming through for drivers at the moment. Still incredibly interesting. And if you guys are enjoying this race, please think about subscribing and leaving a like on the channel. It would be much appreciated if you guys would be willing to do that here tonight. It would generally show so much support. You guys have already shown so much support this season, but let's try and keep that going. By the way, 9876 has actually just pulled past the man of Flame. He's just pulled past Flame. Does this mean that essentially, but Flame's pulled back past, but still, does that mean 9876 is now battling for P2? Because essentially that is what he's battling for. Bomboy, though, he finds himself a little bit further behind. He's still close, but a bit further behind. Still, Geordie stays out. He's staying out. So are the IFE drivers. They're also staying out. AMG gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Maybe AB's day is not going to be so perfect. Now we can see J7BP is going to pull up to P4. He could actually pull, at the moment, he's going to pull up into the lead of the race, which will be quite interesting to see, along with him. He hasn't stopped yet, though, in this race, to be honest. He hasn't stopped, so if he had stopped, that would be quite interesting to see. You could see 98.76 once again pulling up into provisional P2 at the moment. It's interesting to see that at the moment, this man is on his way for a P2 finish. He's fighting for P2. He's fighting for this podium. The difference in how AB have reacted from their whole campaign to this race is very different. Taking on podium chance, taking on big points, their biggest points so far they could be getting this season. But the Red Bull Ring has been something quite special for quite a few drivers. Still Geordie, by the way, staying out. Still one IFE's drivers coming in. That's Swedish Latifi. He's making his way in. Only 2 drivers staying out on the mediums even longer. We still have 22 laps of this race, by the way. Still 22 laps. A long way to go here tonight. And the action is just heating up. So make sure to give us a good old like. Also subscribe. Also click on the notification bell if you want to know about all of the streams and all of the racing we have going on here in FRLT. And also for the highlights, shorts that we upload as well. Make sure to stick around. Lane gets a 3-second time penalty as well. This race really not going some drivers' way at the moment. But the grid is starting to split open a little bit. Flame is now within a second of J7BP, so a little bit of a change there. But look at this. No DRS for Flame, but 98.76 unable to make a move. Now, as you can see, all over the back, 98.76, all over the back of the Aston Martin. Look at this. This is actually opening a chance for 98.76. He's trying to make the move past Flame, but Flame's blocking the way. He wants to make it a struggle for 98.76, and he's ultimately going to get stuck behind the Alpine for now. He's going to try and make the move now, but the Alpine battling back. He doesn't want to give up another place, but he's going to have to, and dive down the inside goes 98.76. He's ultimately going to take that position, and he's going to go up into P2 with now Geordie. By the way, even though he's on fresh tyres, he is down in P8. He's all the way down in P8 at the back of this group. He will go up to P6 with the drivers with penalties in front of him. But even then, him and his teammate P7 and P8, maybe ET, have they just dropped it? Have they dropped the ball on this one? But have POR maybe had a comeback, and now looks like POR could be maybe facing a chance at holding on to their championship lead, because at the moment they'll take a bigger championship chunk. But even if Bomboy finishes P3, still they'll lead by 2 points in the constructors, leaving the 2 races all up to chance for XPG and POR here tonight. As now AMG makes the move for P4, you can see some side-by-side action further back. That was Len also making the move up into P5. He goes. Rather interesting to see there. And here also comes Geordie, who's also trying to make the move on J7BP. And J7BP actually bins it again. He half spins it, and he's down to P8. And that allows Geordie up into P7. And now P6 as he jumps ahead of his teammate Tallow, who lets him by. And now he can charge after the rest of the grid now. All of the 5 drivers who sit in front of him for a chance in this race. Now, as he makes his way round into the middle section, you can see he's all over the back of Len. He's really trying to make that move work very, very soon. Let's see whether he can make that move work or not. As now they make their way round into the last few corners. Let's see what Flame can do. Can he hold on to the lead this lap from 98.76? If 98.76 does what he can do, we could actually be looking at a good old win maybe for AB Academy in their first and only win. Oh, some ghosting going on there. I'm not sure why ghosting is happening. This game becoming quite odd. But both went off track slightly, and now 98.76 has made his way up into the lead, and a very strong lead that is. Let's see whether he can hold it onto the next straight. He actually does get a better exit than Flame, by the way. He's actually gotten a really good getaway from Flame, and I think 98.76 might just lead down the straight. He's going to make... He's braked really early. But quite a bit of lagging from Flame there. Something that you don't particularly want to see at this point. But you can see, once again, some overtaking happening. AMG trying to get past Bomboy around the outside, side by side, into turn 7 and 8 they go. Still going side by side. But it'll be AMG who pulls it off. And into P3 he goes. And now, Geordie, sitting in P5, is looking to make a move like that as well in this race. As now, by the way, we've just reached halfway distance into this race. Yes, halfway distance. We've just made it to the halfway distance. 98.76! He gets a 3-second time penalty! What a mistake! He might have just lost the victory. I think he's just lost the win. But now, battling. Geordie, by the way. Lots of racing going on. Geordie trying to make his way past Bomboy into his favourite position of P4. Still side-by-side racing into the next corner. AMG getting attacked by Bomboy at the same time. Still, you can see the Williams sitting in the background trying to make the move. But ultimately, they're all going to stay the same for now. And no moves are going to happen. As now we return to the second straight. Let's see how all of the drivers are going to negotiate these next two straights. 98.76 going for it early. Down the inside he goes. And also, some lag from Flame. Might be a problem because Geordie's now up to P3. And it's a strong move from him. Still side by side between the McLaren and the Aston Martin. Heading down into turn 4 they go. Ultimately, the McLaren's going to push out the Aston Martin. Still some contact. Now heading round the next corner, it's the lead now for ABE once again. Now making his way round. Let's see how these drivers are going to do as they're about to head on to lap 20. Another 10 laps surpassing them in this long 36-lap race, crossing line to go on to lap 20. Here comes Flame. He's actually trying to attack very early into turn 1. He goes. He does throw it down the inside into turn 1. He doesn't get the exit he wanted, but he is going to get DRS down the next straight. But still, 3 wide. It's going to be Geordie. It's going to be ETE Geordie who takes the lead. Is he going to make a double overtake? He's fighting with Flame through turn 3. He gets the better exit. He gets the getaway. And so far, that could be the lead for ETE once again here tonight. He's holding his line. Now into turn 4 he goes. Round the outside. Flame is trying. He's trying to go round the outside. He's going to get pushed out. He's still there. Still battling. But has Geordie made the move work? Now into turn 6. Side by side still. The Williams versus the Aston Martin. Down the inside. Flame pushes it still. But ultimately it will be Geordie who comes out in the lead again from this. Once again we're seeing ETE lead here tonight. And remember, Geordie is on those fresher tyres and able to pull away far more easily. Now heading down the straight once again. Let's see how they're going to do. Heading down towards turn 3. Oh, the McLaren having to go very wide. Now heading down into turn 3. 3 wide through turn 3. Flame has to escape to go off track. Flame gets a 3-second time penalty because of that. Geordie's surrounded by drivers with time penalties. He hasn't got DRS. He's down to P4. And all of his work looks like it could be over. No, Flame! Flame almost taking out many drivers. He has! He has! Flame now takes out Len at the same time. That now means Flame is down to P6. And this race could be all over. And the win could be all over for Flame now. But this now leads Geordie to be able to win this race and take ultimately his take ETE's second win this season. He was on pole. He's chasing after AMG. He wants to win this race. He really wants to win and needs to win for ETE's chances in the championship to return this week. Let's see how he can do for ETE. Geordie making his way round. No moves so far into turn 3. Everybody being pretty quiet. Looking further back, though, for the smaller points positions into turn 3. Down the inside, bit of contact. But look, Nissan pushed into a move against Luke. Geordie now takes the lead of the race. J7BP now retires from the race. And now it is ETE leading once again from ABE. But it's P1 and P4 at the moment. But if Tallow stays within 3 seconds of the drivers in front, he will be on for a podium, and ETE could walk away with the biggest points haul of the season out of any team. But we'll have to see as the race goes on, because at the moment ETE are on for a 1-2 finish here tonight. I mean, if ETE get that 1-2 finish, I'll be so surprised. I will be really surprised. The turnaround they've had for these 2 races, last race to this race, is just crazy. Into turn 3 they go again. But again, AMG's not getting the exit. He's not getting the drive. He's given away DRS, which allows Geordie to hold on to the lead of the race. And again, this is some mistakes that drivers are making too often. They're just giving it away too early. And AB have kind of done that all night. They've battled for the lead all night. They've been up there inside the top 4. But the problem is now that they might finish in P4 and P5 as it currently stands, but they can't particularly call this a successful night because they've given away the lead to 2 drivers, Flame and now Geordie. And this just isn't good enough from the team of ABE Academy. ABE just need to improve. They just need to start hitting the marks. Yes, 22 points tonight, which is great on top of their 60 points, scoring about a third of their points that they've scored all season long, and scoring that in a single race is great. But sadly, it's not good enough. It's too little, too late, sadly, for them. But now Flame climbs up to P4 ahead of Tallow. But Tallow might be dropping through the order, but as long as he keeps up, which I think he will over these final 12 laps, I think we could be looking at an ETE 1-2 here tonight. And it looks like it could be coming pretty easily. Making their way around now into the final sector once again here on lap 24, as we're about to reach lap 25 of this race. At the end of this season, by the way, for these final 3 races, if you are in our Discord server, there's going to be some voting going on who you think is going to win the Constructors or Drivers' Championship. Tier 2 Drivers' Championship does need to be updated, by the way. So I will be updating that very soon. Be updating it, I believe, over tomorrow. I'll be updating the Tier 2 standings over tomorrow or over Friday. But again, it's a mistake from 9876. He's gone very deep. Same with AMG. They've both made this mistake again, but it's allowed Geordie to get a 6/10 lead in this race. And it's the biggest lead we've had all race long. Well, I believe it's the second biggest lead we've had all race long. The other biggest was 0.8 of a second. So this is incredibly close. But again, Geordie is building this lead out. It's now 0.8. Is he going to extend it to over a second? 0.9 for the first time here tonight. It's become 0.9 of a second. Could it come to over a second in the lead for the first time without pit stops being added in? I think it will. It might just to go to a second. It has. It's reached a second for the first time tonight. Geordie is driving the wheels off of that Williams to take the lead and try and pull further ahead. And he has. He's over a second in the lead in this race. 1.3, 1.4 seconds nearly, 1.3 seconds currently. And he's now left Flame to the Wolves. And that could ultimately ruin his race altogether. As now I think Flame might be under attack from not 2 but 3 cars. He's under attack from 9876. He's under attack from AMG as well. And around the outside, he's trying to make the move. Off the track goes the AB. He's forcing his way past Flame. Flame pushing the car all the way over. Contact happening down the straight. And now, into P3. I think the AB driver's gone. Yes, he has. But look at Len. He's also trying to make the move past the Aston Martin at the same time. He's trying to demote Flame down another position. Ultimately not able to yet. Because... But still, I mean, at the moment, still, Tallow... just sitting in here waiting over these final 10 laps. That's all he's got to go. He can't get a penalty in these final 10 laps because guess what? He's on for P2. He could be on the front row in this race here tonight. And that's going to be something incredibly interesting as Geordie leads by over a second in this race. As we head to the next straight once again. Flame under attack from Len. Once again. Into turn 3 they go. Len down the inside. He's caused contact. He's had contact with AMG. He's got damage. This is all going wrong for Len and LR here tonight. Could LR fall outside of the points? If Len does stop, he will drop outside of the points. So it's all down to battling. Flame trying to get past AMG at the same time. Still some more contact between the two. Still some more battling. Flame might be getting attacked again by the Williams this time. And he is going to get attacked by the Williams, but not enough. Not close enough for Tallow just yet. But this has all gone wrong now for LR in this race. I don't know what is happening to them. And I don't know how this is happening. But they are now struggling. And their only driver has wing damage. Oh, he almost spins it off of the exit of the final corner as well. And now, more contact further back. Flame pushing his way past AMG. And that is now up to P4 goes Flame as he wants to try and close the gap between P2 and P3. As Flame now makes a move up into P2. He's trying. He's up into P3 though. And that's a good move made. And now he's chasing after P2 of 98.76. Who could just be walking away with a potential P3 in his hand and a podium for AB Academy this season. With just 8 laps remaining. Tallow making the move. Up to P5 he goes. Past Len. Nice move made. And the move he needed to make at this point. Now he needs to get past AMG for P4 in this race. As we now head on to lap 29 of 36. Yes, lap 29 of 36. It's felt long. The race has been long in laps. Yet it has gone very, very quickly. As now Bomboy also making his way past Len. At the same time, he's also getting the move done in turn 3. There he goes, trying to get past the Red Bull. And he does get past the Red Bull with not too much difficulty. That's a good position gained as Len now drops down to P7 for his finish. See some battling further back. These 4 further back have been having a lot of battling going on between the IFE drivers, the SET driver of Nissan, and Big Shoots, who's caught up to this battle. They've all been having pretty chaotic fighting, actually, over this race so far. I believe one of the IFE drivers has damage. Yes, he does. Down the inside he goes. That is Luke, who actually has damage on his front wing at the moment. So he is struggling through the corners, and you can see he is. But so is also Nissan, who seems to be struggling altogether on his tyres right now. But still, a battle for P8 is going on. You know, this is pretty interesting to see that even here, for these lower positions, they are still battling, still trying to get a 4-way fight going on. But the man who's just dominating at the moment is Geordie. E.T. Geordie, he's been dominating now for quite a while in this race. 2.5 second lead, almost an entire victory, you might say, based off of how close this race has been. But the gap is just extending, and with everybody else having penalties and Geordie not having any, that could help him out. As now Flame back up into P3 goes, but he's not catching up to P2 at the moment, just very slightly, only 0.2 closer than he was the last lap. Now, making his way around, you can see the gap's now 3 seconds. So I would say 98.76 has now turned his attention from trying to win this race to now trying to hold on to P2. I think that's what he's turned his attention to, because you can see that he definitely isn't chasing the lead. 3.1 seconds off now. He would have to gain 6 seconds to win this race, which I think he knows he won't be doing in 5 laps, which is near on impossible to do in 5 laps. Nobody's ever been able to gain that much without an incident or a spin taking place. Now making his way round. Any moves happening further back? No moves are happening, but it is much further back that a move is happening. SUT Nissan, once again, trying to make a move. Past the man of Luke, still battling going on over P8 here. Small points, yet big battling is going on. Into turn 4 they go. And Luke, contact there between P8 and P9. Some contact, or maybe some lag, who knows. But ultimately, neither of them seem to have come out too badly. And they're both still holding on to their positions. Now we're going to be waiting and watching as the final few laps fly by. 4 laps remaining. Your race leader is E.T. Geordie's been leading for quite a few laps, I must say. He's been leading for quite a while. I will say that. He's been leading for quite a while in this race. That lead hasn't been deterred. Tallow, though, making his move on Bomb Boy. He's also going to try make a move on the McLaren at the same time as he goes into turn 4. Round the outside, he's trying to make that move work. A little bit of lag going on for AMG, and ultimately AMG does lose out the position. He does go down to P6, and he's actually dropped down. Yeah, he has dropped down to P6, and now Tallow up into P4, chasing after a potential podium as these laps are very quickly going by and disappearing. The lead now, E.T. Geordie near on 5 seconds out in the lead. He's actually 2 corners ahead of his rivals at the moment, which is very far in the lead, I have to say, compared to what we've had. For most of this race, we've seen the lead has only been around half a second. 0.4 to half a second this race is around the average that we've had, but these final 5-6 laps have been led by Geordie for so long, felt like so long. Look at this, a battle over P2 going on. Tallow's made the move for P3. He's now going to make the move for P2 past 98.76. Into turn 3 they go side by side between a few drivers further back. Is it going to be an easy one for Tallow? Yes, it is. It's a move that's a bit easier than he thought it would be. I don't think 98.76 is going to try and make the move back into turn 4. He knows he's got the penalty, and around the outside, still the McLaren tries to make the move. It's not going to work. And ultimately, Tallow now up into P2, and ETE on for a strong 43 points here tonight to send them miles up in the championship, potentially. At the moment, they could be facing a P3 in the Constructors, maybe even P2 in the Constructors. If something happens to Flame here, they could be looking at a P2 finish in the Constructors. Let's see, is anything going to happen into the final 2 corners? Flame still battling. Has Flame gotten damage? Has Flame just gotten damage? I don't know. Something flew off a car. Something flew off a car there. It's not to Flame. I think it's actually, no, it is to Len again. Len missing both front end pieces at the moment. But as you can see, into turn 3 they go. P1 and P2 for ET at the moment. They're having a mighty finish. 2 races. And ultimately back-to-back victories for ETE are on the way to ultimately take their 3rd victory of the season to get back into this championship. This would be an absolute massive finish. They just need to have maybe another 2 finishes or maybe even just 1 finish like this, and they could take the Constructors' lead. They led for, I believe, 2 or 3 races this season. They've led the Constructors for, I believe, 2 races this season. But now they're having their comeback and they're pushing hard. 3 laps remaining, which is about to go down to just 2 laps as Geordie is about to cross the line to make it just 2 laps and on to the penultimate lap. But the battle for P2 is heating on. We know Tallow, unless he gets a penalty, he will finish P2 at the moment. Now heading down through turn 1. only a few last attempts at a podium could happen now. I think Flame knows his podium chances are out of a chance. And 98.76 going off track, by the way. He's gotten flung off track. He's now down by his teammate, by the way, in this race now. Side by side with his teammate, actually. As they're now going to get on some battling into turn 4. Some squeezing going on. Some overstay happening for 98.76. As he now drops down to P6. AB Academy really maybe dropping the ball a bit in this race. They've really dropped the ball from a win to a podium to now P5 and P6 at the moment. Everything's falling apart for them. So we're going to have to see. Still, they're going to walk away with 18 points in this race, by the way, at the moment. Unless, I believe AMG has a big penalty. He has 10 seconds of penalty, so he will drop down, I believe, to P7, I think. P7 or possibly P8. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it will be P7. Now, into the next corner. Oh, a big moment for Bomboy. He's actually had a bit of a half spin after 98.76. Dived it down the inside. Contact there onto the final lap. We're going to, by the way. This is now the final lap. Lap 36 of 36. The final lap has arrived here tonight. Yes, it has. Geordie leads by near on 8.5 seconds in this race now. But as they head down towards turn 4, there's a battle going on. Bomboy, of course, he's on for P3, a podium once again for POR. But ETE dominance seems to be assured here tonight. And it is dominance indeed by ETE. We're going to look to the final 2 corners. It's going to be ETE Geordie who's going to be rounding the final 2 corners. As he comes up to the line, ETE Geordie wins in Austria in FRLT Tier 2 in round 9. And it is a finish to remember. His teammate Tallow will also add to that, making it a 1-2 finish. Along with Bomboy for POR on the podium. NG gets another 10-second time penalty, which is going to see him maybe drop through the order. Yes, he will. He's going to drop down the order. He drops down to P8. Some drivers doing unserved penalties, but ultimately drops down to P8 in this race. Len dropping down to P9 as well. So it's not been the smoothest of days, but still 14 points coming AB's way. But what a day for ET. And what a return and a recovery for POR here tonight to jump ahead of XPG and gain some more points over them in the Constructors' Championship. So maybe XPG losing their grip on the title very slightly. Not a huge amount, but it's still 88 points up for debate this season for a single team. Ultimately, let's go through the grid order. Geordie wins from pole, a dominant day, and it is the maximum 44 points for ETE here tonight. They score the maximum with Tallow going from 10th to 2nd. Difficult qualifying, but an amazing day for ETE in the end of it all. Bomboy, because he didn't get any penalties, he ultimately gets P3 on the grid, and POR extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship by a further 3 points to now 15 points in the Constructors. XPG Flame might have started on the front row, but only finishes 4th with 98.76 finishing 5th. Swedish Latifi, he gains 1 place and finishes 6th. SET Nissan, strong day to finish 7th with AMG in 8th. Len in 9th, and Tabaxi finishing 10th with a double podium for LR. Luke will finish 11th outside of the points, followed by both VMV drivers, and then J7BP and Patrick are the 2 retirements we've had from this race. Woo! What a race that was. Very much what a race that was. No words for how good that race, just no words. No words at all. Absolutely crazy. Ultimately, it is sadly that time of the day, that time of the stream to sadly say goodbye. Yes, it is sadly a goodbye. But it has been an absolute amazing race, an amazing stream. Thank you for all of the support here tonight. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like to show your support, as all of us do a lot of very hard work here in the league. To be fair, we do all quite a bit of hard work, to be honest. We all work incredibly hard. Also, thank you to all of the drivers and managers who do make this possible. Also, thank you to all of my moderators and commentators. They help me so much because I can't do everything and I'm a bit useless. Ultimately, also click on that notification bell to know about all the content of the streams we have. We stream Tuesdays for Tier 1, Tier 2 here on Wednesdays, and ultimately 4s on Sunday nights at 7 and 8 p.m. for Lobby 1 and Lobby 2. Sometimes we'll have to see. Ultimately, Also, make sure to come and join our Discord server in the link below. Also, go follow us on Twitter, where we post more updates, more frequent updates about racing and everything going on in the league. Ultimately, also, big thanks to our sponsor, Rogue Energy. And I ultimately hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day, an amazing week, amazing night, and I will see you very soon. I think I'll probably see you on Sunday. So, let's give you a reminder of the calendar. Ultimately, we only have 2 races left after completing Austria in round 9. We've now completed Italy, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, Qatar, Netherlands, Great Britain, Canada, Las Vegas, and now Austria. And now for the final 2 races, with the calendar slightly changed, with no break week in between Austria and China, we'll be going to China and then Spain to end off the season for round 11. Only 2 races left, and it's so disappointing. Say it's 2 races left, but it's definitely been an exciting season. Ultimately, I will see you once again very soon. Goodbye. Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights.